Morning. So yesterday we did all those meals and I am tired. I feel like I don't know, maybe I slept wrong or something, but I feel tired and achy all over. But life happens. We need to do some things tomorrow, so I'm not going to be home. And we had a pig hanging, and the pig needs to get processed today. So I am processing the pig today. So I am taking you along with me to process the pig. You'll see some of the kids and stuff doing various things too. I think what I'm going to do is I'll just kind of have it as a silent video, is what we're doing, but I'm not quite sure. I haven't made up my mind on that. This is just going to be kind of the intro. I want to, most homesteaders or most families, they don't actually like process their own. My husband has a tractor right there, he's plowing. Um, so they don't actually like, they just send their animals off to the butcher. We do everything here. An animal needs to be processed. My husband shoots it, he hangs it. My husband and children, or just my children or myself, will usually, now that I have older children, then I don't skin as much as I used to. I used to skin a lot more than I do now, skin and gut. So they will skin and gut because we have some older people. And then I usually am in charge of the cuts inside of the house. So they just brought it in. It is laying on the table, and I am going to get to work. So it depends on the size of the animal if we cut it in half or quarters, and this one is in halves. So basically, it's the way that it was hanging, and then they just cut the back leg. They usually leave on. They just cut that off with a sawzall. So that is what we are doing today. So if you do not like that type of stuff, then please feel free to pass through this video. And if you do like this kind of stuff, then I will let you. I think what I'm going to try to do is do a video and then maybe try to voice over it. I haven't done that too often on the laptop, which allows me to do longer videos. So bear with me if it doesn't come out right, but that is my goal, to try to do that, to try to explain. I have no professional experience at all. I didn't grow up around any of this type of stuff. I didn't really have anyone teach me or train me how to do it. I just kind of looked a little bit up here and there, and I'm not particular because I just want pieces of meat that are going to feed my family. So don't take instructional as far as I'm going to have this piece and this piece and this cut and this cut. I'm not professional. I'm getting food on the table for my family. So I hope that that encourages you to be able to do the same for yourself if you are a homesteader. All right, let's go. So here we go here. I'm trying to cut all the fat off here. What we do with the fat is we take the fat and we'll cut it into chunks so that we can have it later. We will put that in a roaster or a crock pot with the chunks with like a cup of water and let that um, go down. Not boil down, but I put it on low for a good full day, and then we'll have the lard that will come off of that, and then I jar that up and we use that for making our soap, which, if you haven't already seen one of the videos, look down. I'll try to link one down below where it's our basic lard soap that we make, and that's what we do with all this fat, is we render it and then we just make the soap. So my daughter starts standing behind me, which you can't see, and she starts cutting up the lard for that. See, here she's grabbing it and she's bringing it over to where the roaster is, and she started cutting it up. So I'm just throwing it in there and she's cutting it up. I like to use a good, I think it's called a fillet knife. You get them a lot of times in the sporting goods section of your store, not in the regular knife section. And you would like fillet fish with it. And I like those because it bends a little bit and you're able to like bend the knife slightly around each of the bones and the curves and that type of stuff. So that's my preferred type of knife. I'm kind of picky about the knives that I use. I never used to be. It's kind of funny. Our first animal that we ever did ourselves, somebody came over and they had a deer in the back of their vehicle. And they said, "Here you go. We can have this." Yes, I need help flipping this beast over. So they come over and they said, "Do you want this deer?" And we're like, "Yeah, we want this deer. And so right here, I'm cutting along the backbone here, and this is going to be my whole loin. So I'm cutting it from one side, and you'll see later I'm on the other side. Right here, I'm cutting the bacon off, and I take the leaf lard, which is the fat inside of there, off later while I'm processing things. I just put that off to the side. So we get this deer back to the house, and I didn't have any really sharp knives. I tried like every knife in the house to be able to cut up this deer, and I finally ended up using my sewing scissors. It was just so ridiculous that I used sewing scissors, but I cut up the whole deer with sewing scissors because I couldn't cut it with any of my knives because they were so dull, and it made me really appreciate a good knife. So, and a good knife doesn't have to cost a lot of money. I do have some expensive knives, but the knife that I'm using right here is just, well, last I checked, I think they were $2.97 at Walmart. So they're not expensive at all. So I am just trying to figure this beast out and decide what I want to do with this. I ended up doing with this one, I ended up cutting it a little bit different. And then my next one, I cut the whole ham piece off the back. So we had an actual ham. And this one, I ended up making ham steaks with it. So I would have more of that type of meat. So I cut a roast and then I cut steaks. Now, again, you don't have to worry about making cuts to what a grocery store would be. You can just make cuts how you would like to make cuts and what's going to serve your family best. So here I'm coming along the top half of that loin, and I'm kind of pulling it and then working the loin out. It's hard. It's really at a hard angle here, but I wanted the table leaned up against the wall because the legs are a little bit wobbly. And when you're trying to like pull it, you're pulling and maneuvering the animal, and the table wiggles back and forth. But I don't want to do that on my dining room table because I have wood and it's porous, and I don't want to worry about cleaning all that out. I'd rather just bleach down these tables when we're done. So there we go. There's the loin. And it was a pretty big loin. We ended up getting, as you'll see at the end, quite a bit of pork chops off of that. So make sure you stay tuned to the end because I do give what we got from the whole animal. So here I am just working on that ham portion again. As you can tell, the area that looks bloodier, if you don't know anything about animals, that is where the head is up there. And so I'm at the butt end and trying to cut like around the tail portion there and trying to decide. Sometimes basically all of my cuts that I have except for the front shoulder are boneless cuts. So I don't want to have a special saw in my house to be able to do butchering. And so I debone absolutely everything. And a secret with different roasts and stuff is if you have a roast and it's kind of floppy and it doesn't look a really good shape, just use plain old cotton yarn. You can get it in a roll at Walmart. I think the whole roll is like under $10. And you can just tie it up if you don't feel like it's a good proportion or a good size. Like if one side's a little bit skinnier versus the other side, you want to just kind of fluff that up the appropriate way and tie it up. And you can tie it across and then switch it and tie it the other way to try to make it uniform shape. And the reason to do that is so one side it's cooking evenly and one side isn't like burning and the other side being like raw. So you don't always have to do that. I didn't have to do that with any of the pieces that I got today, which I'm thankful for. So, yep, I cut those two were roast out of this one. The other half I ended up getting the ham and then two other roasts, just the way that it was portioned. So now I'm just chucking meat into a bowl, and that's going to become the I almost said hamburger, all the sausage. So we're just chucking it all in. So they will grind up some and it will just be plain ground pork. And I can use that in recipes. And then I will do usually a bowl that size. They're pretty big bowls full of sausage. I think today I'm going to do a maple breakfast sausage because we ran all out of that. I made some big patties last time with the maple sausage. I think this time I want to make almost like meatball size sausages because they would cook up quicker in the morning time because eggs don't take very long to cook. So if I had something smaller, I could just kind of saute them in the pan. I might even do like just meatballs, and then they could have that to go with the eggs, and it would be a quicker fix in the morning because the sausage patties were great, but they were a little bit thick and they took a lot longer than the eggs did. So for a quick morning, then it made it a little bit more difficult, and I like quick mornings. So the tape is gonna roll off. Okay, guys, so I will show you where I'm at. It's from where the video pretty much stopped. So what I'm doing, I'm cutting this for like what the needs of our family is at this present moment. We've already put 4 pigs in the freezer. So here is what I have left of this half. So these I'm going to make into ribs here. And then this section here, I will probably chunk up into chunks, and then I will use that for either stew or like pulled pork or something like that because it has a little less fat than the other parts that I cut off for hamburger. So this in the back, I mean, not hamburger, sausage. This right here is all going to be sausage, and whatever else on here is going to be sausage. I need to feed the baby. So basically ribs and sausage is what's left on this carcass here. And then I have another half in the garage. So you saw me cut already these things. This right here is the bacon, and this is going to be pork chops. I'm just going to slice it along here, and that will be pork chops. This big thing that you saw me, this I'm going to cut here with a Sawzall, and then this part will be washed and then have burger, and then this I'll actually keep as a whole piece. To do it like this, I can do a couple different things. If I have a lot of people over, then I would there's actually a lot of bone in that section, so I can put it in the oven and do something like that. I could put it in the smoker and just have it smoked like that. I could also boil it down and use the meat off of that. I think what I'm going to do is use that portion and do and soak it and then smoke it, and then we'll eat that next Saturday. We'll eat that next Saturday. So I'll do like a brine and have it go in the brine and then put a rub on and put it in the smoker. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then these two are hams, or smaller hams. I did one smaller and one bigger. The bigger one would go in the oven and the smaller one could go in the crock pot. So that's what I did there. I do not know what I'm doing, as you can see, but I want to encourage you guys that you can do this. And it's meat, and I think we get stuck in this whole thing at the grocery store. Okay, this is a pork loin. Okay, this is a pork chop. Okay, these are, I mean, obviously ribs are ribs. They have ribs in them. This is a whatever steak, or this is whatever roast. I don't think that you need to get caught up in it. At first, I was caught up in it, and I was like, oh, I'm not cutting it right. And it doesn't really matter. Like, all you need to do, pork is pork. So if it has a lot of fat in it, then it's going to end up being sausage. If it doesn't have a lot of fat in it, it can be a steak, it can be a ham, or something like that. And you can use it like that. So use it and cut pieces that your family is going to use. Don't just decide to do what you think is the proper things, and then you'll be able to have what you need for your family rather than what the grocery store needs for, the people that are going to buy it. So I just want to encourage you to try to do this yourself. It saves a ton of money. I mean, ours, there's a certain fee for shooting and then a certain fee for hanging. In the beginning, we actually just used to hang it off of somebody else's tractor and do it that way. Now we actually built a gambrel, and we built that for fairly free. Somebody had given us some wood, and then we got a drop chain for that. That was the only cost of that, which was I had a used one at first, but it had it was still really hard to pull, so I ended up buying a new one which a child could pull, and that was, I think, $90 on Amazon. So yeah, but I encourage you that you can do this yourself. So I will come back with all the cuts that we end up getting done today, and yeah. Are you saying hi? So she's helping. So we are at the end of the day butchering Dave's pig, and I will show you what we have. We have a couple things that still need to get tidied up, but we also need to get supper and stuff on and clean up and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to show you because we're going to start putting things into the freezer. So I have here, and let's not hit that button. We have, each bag has 12 pork chops, and we have 5 bags of those. This right here has all the seasonings and stuff on it for the bacon. We're going to smoke 2 roasts and bacon on Friday. So here is the bacon here, and this will just get flipped back and forth like twice a day until then. I have 2 ham steaks here. Then I have 4 roasts and a ham. And then these 2 are the front shoulders. So with the front shoulders, I took some seasonings. I took salt, pepper, onion, garlic powder, some maple syrup, some brown sugar, and a little bit of our homemade home done red pepper. And I put that and I rubbed that all over it, and then I put it in the plastic wrap. So those 2 and the bacon are going to go into the smoker on Friday, I think. I'm thinking probably Friday we'll do that. So I will leave those in the garage in a cooler, and Friday we will smoke those. And then once we smoke these 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all the meat off, and I think I'm going to make that into pulled pork with like barbecue sauce, but it will already have that like smoky kind of sweet flavor from the maple syrup and the brown sugar. That is what I'm hoping. I have not done it before, but I'm going to try it. And then here we have, this is just ground sausage. This bowl right here, I'm going to make into maple breakfast sausage. So we, I'm not going to do it into links. I'm going to do it into like, I think I'm going to do like mini patties, because last time I made big patties, but the little kids, we had to cut them down. So I think I'm just going to make some small patties there. You want to push the button? What are you making? What are you making? You're making ground pork. So she is putting this is just like beef, not beef, pork chunks. Put it in the top, and then it comes out the other side. I don't know. Can you see that? Yeah. See how it comes out the other side? Point to the end of the tip, Grayson, please. Yeah, so it comes out there. So that is what they're working on. They only have that little bit left. And then we have this here, which we need to bring out to the freezer. It was starting to leak because there was so much weight on the top. I think this usually, yeah, we don't touch the blood. Okay, so I think that usually holds like 30-ish. We'll count it as we put it in the freezer. So that is what we're doing. Oh, and then I have this. So this is so far what's cut up. This right here needs to be cut up still and put on here. And then I will probably put that out onto the garage until Thursday, and then start to do that on start to boil that down on Thursday. I'll take you just over here for a minute. The other day we made that chicken enchilada casserole, and that was helpful. I was going to say that was it. So they ate that for lunch, and then we took the beef and the chicken, and we have them boiling on the wood stove here, and we are canning that. So lots of broth going on there. All right, so I hope that you all have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.